Hi, everyone. I hope that you get a chance to see this interview today. Hi, I'm Debbie Leno. I'm the Inner Peace Health Coach, and I'm the founder of the Ageless Woman Movement. I coach women of all ages to find their inner brilliance. And my motto is inner peace is priceless. Health is more than just diet and exercise, ladies. So today with me is my guest, Liz, and I love having women on the program here to really share their wisdom and what they've been through and to just share their knowledge with all of us and to help us all grow. And Liz, she joins us from Austin, Texas. She is a hair salon franchise owner for 23 years. She's a marketing executive with an online wellness company since January 2020. She's a group facilitator and leader of Dr. Joe Dispenza's Austin Meditation Community for 6 years. I know of Dr. Joe's work, and that's really fascinating, Liz. I can't wait for you to share some of the things you've learned by doing that. So Liz is going to be sharing with us on a topic of authenticity and heart coherence. How can we get to that place in our heart and soul? And what does that look like in our life? How life altering is it when we realize that we are not our thoughts, but we're the observer of our thoughts? And how can we practice taking a pause in that space before when we react? So I know that was kind of a mouthful for me to say, but I'll let Liz take it from here and really elaborate on what all of that means. And so maybe we could start, Liz, by sharing with us the whole concept of not being our thoughts, but being an observer of our thoughts. I really love that. Can you elaborate on that for us?
I can. I can elaborate on that because quite honestly, when I realized that, I'm not sure when I realized that, it was literally life altering. So let me ask the audience a question. When you're thinking, who's listening? When you're listening, who's thinking? So I've asked that question many times before to people, to groups that I lead and classes that I've taught. And oftentimes what I get is, I am. I'm like, so if you're the listener, who's the thinker? And it really makes some people think because your brain is a computer and it chatters endlessly at you. And until you realize that there is actually someone listening in there, that you're ruled by the computer brain. And the brain is a wonderful computer, and the ego is there to protect us. However, we are more than our brain, and we are more than our ego. Little tidbit of information that I learned from studying the Heart Math Institute a little bit, and that is that the heart is actually smarter than your brain. Its wisdom lies in a different way. But information, they've measured this, when information comes in, it actually hits your heart first before it goes to your brain.
So you feel it first.
You feel it. Yes, you feel it. The energy of that
first, and then you store it.
Right, and then your brain reacts. And so what that tells us then is we're more than our brain, we're more than our thoughts. What we are essentially is we are the observer of our thoughts. And yeah.
I love that concept. It's kind of like being that outside witness.
It is. And, once you first realize that, if you've never really realized that before, which is so common, it is so common in our society because we're always in a hurry. Or we used to be before COVID, but anyway, and once you realize that, then it's really pretty fun because I remember when I first realized that, and I would be driving, and I used to drive a lot to our salons, and I like to drive fast, and I had a tendency to get just a wee bit irritated in traffic. That's an understatement.
Road rage, Liz?
Bordering on ragey, not all the way, but judgy for sure, very judgmental. So I heard someone say that if you have road rage, it's your ego because you're taking everything personally, right? So I knew that bit. And then when I learned that I'm the observer of my thoughts. I'm driving down the road and one of those little nasty thoughts pop in my head and I'm like, oh, there it is. Like, oh, there it is. It's kind of distracting. You're like, having this thought and you're like, oh, I am the observer. And so the power behind that, though, is you can stop a thought that is not good for you. A thought that is, if you're having, self-talk that's not positive, or if you're jumping to conclusions about someone else, or if you're feeling anxiety around something that shouldn't cause you anxiety, once you realize that you can stop that thought and replace it with something else, that's the beginning of really finding peace.
Yes.
It really is. And it's a journey. It's definitely a journey, but there's such a freedom that comes with that. And, to get a little bit on the spiritual side here, because I really believe that we are all spiritual beings and we are a whole being. You can't just separate your brain, your heart, your body. We are a whole being. But the part of who we really are, our inner being, our connection to our source, however you call source, that is the essence of who we are. And that essence, while it lies in a field of energy around us, in our physical body, it resides in our heart.
So I have a good question for you. Angela. Hi, Angela. Thank you for coming on live. That's so exciting to see people pop up on live and interact with us. And so I'm really grateful for that. And Angela wants to know, this is very hard to do with anxiety. So what would your suggestion or what would your thoughts be for someone who is experiencing a moment of anxiety to say stop and to reflect? I mean, what based on the knowledge that you've had so far and the teachings that you've had, how would you respond to Angela on that? That it's very hard to do this and practice this when you have anxiety.
Angela, I think the first step is recognizing that you are observing anxiety. Your inner being, the essence of who you are, is observing Angela's brain and body experiencing anxiety. Separate yourself from it and observe it. I can't speak directly to you, Angela, but what I do know is that when you're experiencing an uncomfortable emotion, whatever it is, feeling, whatever it is, the best thing to do is to not try to push it away. You're experiencing it full body, typically with anxiety, for a reason. And so to push it away creates more anxiety.
Or can trigger resistance.
Exactly. One of the tricks that I do when I have anxiety is I do deep breathing. It's amazing how it can really reset your nervous system, because you have to stop with the shallow breathing. And deep breathing means breathing from your diaphragm. You may know this already, but for those who don't, if you were to lay on the floor and place a book on your lower belly, the deep breathing from the diaphragm would raise that book up and down, and your chest would not come up and down. That kind of deep breathing fills your lung space up with oxygen, and you take in a deep breath slowly, let it out slowly, do it 3, 4, 5 times slowly. And that in and of itself can help reset your nervous system, because what you're doing is you're telling your nervous system that everything's okay because I'm deep breathing.
Oh, that's a really good one. There's also something I can post later on today, some helpful tips for people who experience anxiety, things like counting something in the room. I can't remember the exact list of things, but it's like taking your mind off of the anxiety and focusing on things that are in your immediate surrounding. That I'll post that too. We'll try different things to help you with that. But I love the deep breathing, Liz. That's a great one to do. Yeah. Resetting. Think of reset.
And it will help soothe that nervous system response and give you a little space to observe what triggered you, and and I know it sounds counterintuitive to not resist it, but in the resisting of it, you give it power. So, yeah,
Yes. Understood.
yeah,
Understood.
yeah.
So there's a book that you and I have talked about that has been a great handbook. And it is, would you like to talk about that book?
I
The
would. I would. I will touch on for just a second Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, which I studied and practiced and led groups in for 6 years. Dr. Joe Dispenza's work is all about reprogramming those self-defeating thoughts in your brain. And I won't go into great detail about that, but we use meditation and we use all kinds of tools with that. So with Dr. Joe, and this is just a little food for thought, in Dr. Joe's program, one of the first things that he teaches is that if because your brain is a computer, because you're a habitual human being, if you do and have the same thoughts every single day, then your past, your future is going to look like your past. Think about the movie Groundhog Day. So what he suggests you do is when you're in the process of really trying to think new thoughts about your world, change up how you do things. Even as simple as don't have coffee, have tea in the morning. Take a different route to work. Change
Yes.
up your routines. If you like to walk as exercise, ride your bike instead. Because what that does is that stimulates your brain to have new and different thoughts. It opens up the field of possibilities. And so
Yes.
that's one of the premises of the beginning parts of his work. But the book that that Debbie mentioned is a book that it's a really, sometimes the most simple things hold the greatest wisdom. And it's also quite actionable. And I actually have used this book to teach classes in my salons over the years to our salon managers because it helps with all of your relationships. And this actually allows you to put into practice observing your thoughts. So it gives you that pause before you react with these 4 tools. Okay, so the book is The 4 Agreements. Let me see that backwards. The 4 Agreements. It's by Don Miguel Ruiz. I don't know his history really. I just know the 4 Agreements by heart because I do think about those frequently. So the 4 agreements are this. Number 1 is be impeccable with your words. Now that doesn't necessarily mean so much like I promise I will do thus and such, and you're keeping your word. What it really means is words are energy, and words they're powerful. They carry energetic frequencies. And so be impeccable with the words you use with others. Be impeccable with the words you use with yourself. Make sure that the words that you use carry an energy that you wish to convey. So be impeccable with your word. It also does mean keeping your word, of course. So that's number 1, be impeccable with your word. Number 2, and the hardest for most everybody I've ever talked to, take nothing personally. Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Yeah. I'm good with that now, but there was a time when I wasn't. So yes, that's when you can achieve that, that is a wonderful sense of freedom. Wonderful sense of freedom. Yes, don't take things personally. It's a
Right?
great one.
Take nothing personally because people do things from their own impetus. You may trigger them, but it's not about you, it's about them. And if you can take nothing, I mean nothing personally, trust me, you are free. You
Oh
are really
yes,
free.
yes.
Yeah,
Think of
yeah.
Q-tips. Think of Q-tips. Quit taking it personally. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
So
one. I love that.
it's a real good one. I've really never had much trouble with that one. I really haven't. I don't know why, but I know most people do. But the one I've had the most trouble with is number 3, make no assumptions.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
often do we do that? Because we think that we know what the other person is thinking, and many times we don't.
Most of the time we don't.
No, and most often we're wrong.
Hmm.
It's such a bad habit to make assumptions.
It is a bad habit. And that one was both for my husband and myself running our hair salon business. That one was sort of our little bugaboo because, one of our managers or stylists or somebody would do something really disruptive and or whatever. And we would, of course, we own a business together. We have for 23 years. So we talk business when we come together in the evening. And we would sit there and make up all these stories about why they probably did that dastardly thing. I mean, we would have a story made about, well, this must have happened, and then that probably happened, and then this happened, and they did that. And it's like, no. So it usually wasn't anything that we thought it was, but it didn't matter because it's none of our business anyway. So make no assumptions.
So that is a hard one. And yeah, yeah. These are great. I love the four agreements because they're so crucial to, having a happy life.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And number 4 is always do your best.
Mm.
Always do your best. I remember a line from a movie or a play. I don't remember the exact movie or play, but it was, if I'm going to be a street sweeper, I'm going to be the best darn street sweeper that ever was.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great. That's
So,
great.
so those are the 4 agreements. But the way that it really can hook up with realizing that you're not your thoughts is that if you read, even if you only read the section of this book that explains the 4 agreements, because there's a before and an after, and I think he was like a shaman or something. I can't remember his background. Really cool guy. But if you just go to the middle of the book and read the 4 agreements, and reflect upon them. And then as you go out into the world, or you're on your Zooms or whatever you're doing now, and catch yourself.
I
You
think
can
that's a
catch
great
yourself.
suggestion because that's such an easy place to start. And you don't have
Mm-hmm.
to do all four right away. You could pick the one that resonates the most for you, that the one that you have the most response from,
Yeah.
and work on that one and just work on that, and then just little by little incorporate other agreements. And I think that's a wonderful place to start.
I think that's a great idea, Debbie, because if you just pick the one, then you've got that one to focus on. It's sort of like your first mission is, I'm going to focus on taking nothing personally.
Right.
And
I
then
think
you check yourself every time you recognize that you're having that thought.
yes. And I think that if we do things in small steps, it's more manageable, but it
Mm-hmm.
also gives you a focus. So if you just have that one thing to focus on, that's what you'll be noticing, and that's what you can work on. And
Absolutely.
it's so cool how if you bring an intention to your morning, just say, you know what, today I'm gonna notice every time I've taken something personally. I'm gonna notice. And have that little conversation with yourself. Why did I take that personally?
Yeah.
What was it that they said that triggered me?
Yeah.
And use it as a reflective tool for deeper questioning. But yeah, I love that you brought that up, Liz, about the four agreements, because I read that a long, long time ago, but I kind of forgot about it. And then I saw his cards. So he has a deck of cards that you could pull one each
Oh,
day. And
yeah.
and that's fun too. And then you could use that card to, you can say, okay, this speaks for me today, and I'm going to notice this today.
Yeah.
But it's
It,
such an easy place to start for anybody.
it really is. And there's another book that I would recommend. Actually, I recommend this book to every human being. I think you should read it when you're 20, 40, and 60. Honestly.
Absolutely.
Not this
Yes.
book. There's a different book. Have you guys ever read The Untethered Soul by Michael
Oh my
Singer?
gosh, that's come up many, many times for me in the past couple months. I don't have it yet, but it's on my list of things to get. And before we go any further, Angela has another comment. Making
Okay.
assumptions about why someone doesn't like you when you've done nothing wrong. So I guess the first thing I would ask is, why are you assuming that they don't like you? Is it the way they're behaving? Is it the way they're treating you? So that's a great observation, Angela. Making assumptions about why someone doesn't like you when you've done nothing wrong. So if you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to worry about. It is all well with your soul.
You know, and typically, Angela, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about something inside of them. I mean, if you've done nothing wrong, and you know, then it's all about them. That's the thing with the part of the book, Take Nothing Personally. It really dives deep into how really nothing is about you. Even if someone is attacking you, it's not about you. Something about you simply triggered something
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
them.
100%. Yes. Yes.
And so they're actually not reacting to you, they're reacting to themselves. They don't know it, but they are, because that's just really how humans work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're all unfinished, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
It's a work that we continue, until we leave this earth. It is a work. I encourage everyone to take those steps to find out who they are and to be really good with yourself, and to just grow and learn and read, attend seminars. Don't go through life just thinking this is my life and this is how it is, and there's more to it. Trust me, there's more to it than you think. Right? Would you say, Liz?
I
There's
would say
more.
that what Dr. Joe Dispenza says in his workshops, I've been to many of his workshops, he always says, there is always more. There's always more. We are an ever evolving soul, and there's always more to learn. There's always more to discover. I mean, if you ever reach a place where you think, okay, I'm good, I'm done. Well, guess what's going to happen? The universe is going to come up and smack you right upside the head just to say, oh, no, you're not. That happened to me during lockdown. I was like, oh, I'm good. I've got it all figured out. Oh, no, I had work to do. So, yeah, we
Yeah,
never.
we are truly a work in progress. Even when we clear things, life still goes on, life still happens. It is a continuing thing that we practice, letting go, just having that awareness of what's really happening. Oh my gosh. There's so much that we could talk about right now. I wouldn't even know where to start with this. Such a good
I
topic.
know. I will say, I'm sorry, I was reading my notes.
And
Please forgive me.
well, we're not always ready to hear it either, because you could hear a message 20 times and it doesn't mean a blessed thing to you at that moment or for those 20 times. And then all of a sudden, on the 21st time you hear it, you're like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I can think about it. Now it makes sense. So we're not always ready to receive the information we're exposed to. But
No,
just,
we're
I would
not.
say, stay open, right?
It's good to know what's available, though. It's good for every person is on their own journey. Everybody is basically, no matter what the appearances are, you're getting what you need on your journey for growth. And the challenge in that is to never stop growing, and just to realize that there is always more, and it comes in letting go. One of my favorite
Yes.
quotes, and this one changed my life fundamentally, was, and I don't know who said it. They say the Buddha said it. I don't know, but it goes like this: what you resist persists. And what that means to me is that anything that you push against, if it's something about yourself that you don't like and you're pushing against it, you're trying to tamp it down, you're trying to hide it, whatever it is, if it's somebody in your life that you don't like the way they are behaving, someone in your family, you don't like the way they're behaving. So you're pushing against that behavior. Don't act that way. Don't be like that. What you're doing in that resistance to their behavior is you are empowering their behavior. You're empowering the resistance. So if you think about it like a game of tug of war with a rope, there's you on one end and the thing you're resisting on the other end, and you're both fighting against each other.
There's an invisible energy there that most people are not aware of.
Exactly. And when you drop the rope, imagine playing tug of war hard and then you drop the rope, then it's gone. That energy there is gone. That energetic connection is gone. So that was a hard lesson for me to learn. I learned that lesson when my daughter was in middle school and I was going through menopause.
Wow. Yeah, hormonally, that's a mess.
It was a mess.
Between
And here's a
middle
really
school
short
and
story.
menopause. Whoa. Yeah.
Here's a short story. She used to like to trigger me. Imagine that, She used to like to trigger me. And I was practicing this. I was on my journey. I was learning, and I had learned to not resist and, stay in my heart and all that. She comes in my bedroom one morning, because mornings before school were a minefield.
Yeah.
And she came in there and she was intentionally trying to pick a fight. And I'm a strong person. I don't take crap. I didn't take crap from her. So we would butt heads so often. Well, I decided to take a new tactic. So she comes in there and she's antagonizing me, and I'm just like, oh, honey, I'm so sorry you feel that way. Oh, that's too bad. And she just looks at me and she goes, what is wrong with you? You won't even fight with me.
You disempowered her right away. There's
Works like
something
a
to that.
charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's more important for the other person to feel that they've been heard. So I think just knowing that they're heard is good.
It is good. It's good for your heart.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
Well,
I'm sorry.
no, I'm fine. So we don't have a whole lot of time left. So I want to ask you, we mentioned the word coherence before, and that's a big part of your work is coherence. It's the heart coherence. So do you want to speak a little bit to that and then just wrap up and just let us know what your parting words of wisdom are to our viewers?
Yeah. I think that when you're in coherence, most people use, in culture, they'll say, I'm in the zone, I'm in the flow. When your heart's desires, your heart is open, and you are in a place where you are observing your thoughts, so you're intentionally thinking what you want to think about, and your heart is open in love, because you can literally feel that heart open in love. If you close your eyes and you deep breathe a little bit through your heart, not through your diaphragm now, you breathe in through your heart, mm-hmm. and you think about something that you are so grateful for, or somebody that you love so much, gratitude and love, and that'll open up that heart to a different energy. And when it does, it has a feeling to it, and that's an energy. And if you do that a few times a day and you begin to do it intentionally, you really find that you stay in that flow with a heart coherence.
That's so good.
Yeah. And, I will do that with my prickly husband sometimes. We've been married 32 years. We're best friends. He's kind of prickly. And I will intentionally go and hug him, and I'll breathe deeply, and I go into my mind's eye, into my heart space, and I just open it in love and gratitude. And he can feel that, because I stepped away and I'll say, did you feel that? And he goes, I did. So your heart's a very powerful piece of you. And so to be in coherence means that whatever you allow into your life, you're allowing it because it feels good to you. It aligns with your values. It aligns with what you feel is important. You're not doing anything that that doesn't feel good to you. I mean, sometimes we have to do things that don't feel good to us. I get that. But if you're in heart coherence, you'll attract the things to you that you need to grow and develop.
And I love that idea of starting your day with a grateful heart. Meditation is so powerful and so awesome to raise your vibration for your whole day.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
It is
awesome.
for sure. Yeah, for
So do
sure.
you have a thing that you would like to share? Do you have a passion that you would love to share, or words of wisdom that you feel really important that really need to be shared with our viewers? What's the
I have
one
a couple
thing?
of things. Um, we're living in tumultuous times. We all know that. My belief system says that you can't reorder anything without chaos first. So we're living in chaos right now. But there will be a great reordering, a great putting it all back together. And I believe the frequencies are rising. I believe that over time, it won't happen overnight, that everything is going to come back together in a much better whole. And so that's what I hold for myself. That's the truth that I hold. And it's important to me to stay in that energy. And so, um, you know, go ahead.
That's very similar to a belief that I have. It's very parallel to it, and that is that I believe that everything works together for the good. I just do. I always have, always will, no matter how it looks.
No matter how it looks, no matter how it looks,
Hmm.
it's all going to come back together. And we have the ability to create our own life. Your life is the energy field that you carry, and that's the only thing that we can control for the most part. And so if you can get to a place where you feel peaceful no matter what's going on around you, then you're going to be a peaceful person and you'll see the world through a different lens.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's my philosophy, but I know that's the philosophy of a lot of people right now. And I was chastised one time when I told a group of our managers, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. And one of them chastised me and said, don't tell me not to be afraid. This was the beginning of COVID. And so I took that to heart because it's like, okay, everyone has their own truth. But I think staying in heart coherence, you bring into your life what you need. And those things that don't resonate with you won't find you if you're in heart coherence. That's what I believe. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Delightful conversation with you today.
It
Oh,
was. If anyone wants to reach me, I have a Facebook group. It's called Life with Lizzie.
oh, and by the way, it's fun. I love your group.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thank you.
Fun.
Thank you. My passion is actually writing. And so I post a lot of my writings on Life with Lizzie. One day I'm going to start a blog. It'll be in the next 6 months. I'm going to start a blog. And I'm really looking forward to that because I really love to write. So please just send me a request to join my group, and you can look through what I write. It's a lot of stuff in there, but yeah, and reach out to me. Send me a message if you want to chat. I actually work for an online wellness company, and I chose it because it resonates with me. Um, it's non-toxic, green, responsible products, everyday household products,
Everything that we
and
stand for. That's right.
that's right. And everything's made in the United States except for chewing gum in small batches. So everything is fresh and
Perfect.
delivered to your door. So that's what I do for a living. So reach
So
out to me if
I'm
you
anxious to hear more about that because as I want to remind everybody who's listening that November 1st starts our month of
want.
female entrepreneurs, and so I'm really excited for all of our gals to share their businesses, more about who they are, and I'll put together a little video and just kind of go over some of the things for that. So I'm really looking forward to everybody sharing what they do, and just to gather an incredible group of women. We have so many powerful women in this group that have so much to share between the products and services that they work with, they offer, and this is for the growth of women. I mean, I am all about this movement, gals. I mean, just movement, just even the word movement, it's activity, it's creation, it's yeah. So I'm excited. Thank you so much, Liz. Um, Follow up with her if you would like to, and I think she's got a lot of good stuff to share. And I can't wait to see your first book.
Thank you so much, Debbie, and thanks to all of you out there.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye bye.